Hello friends, have you ever asked yourself in the silence of the night who I am, why I have come here, and what this world really is? If these questions arise in your mind too, then do watch this video till the end. And yes, if you want to know the answers to such profound questions, then subscribe to this channel right now. Today, we are about to reveal a question whose answer will change your life forever. The consciousness within you, which feels everything, which is seeing this world through your eyes. Where did it come from? If this body is born, then why did it need this body? Paramhansa Yogananda Ji says that the soul does not come into this world out of compulsion. It has a special purpose for coming here, and that purpose isn't known to this world. What the world calls fate, misfortune, coincidence, or destiny, Yogananda Ji describes it as a play of consciousness, a drama so real that the soul itself perceives itself as a character in this play. God created the soul and gave it the freedom that if it wishes, it can return, or it can wander in this world. But the real question is, why was the soul sent into this world? Was God alone? Did he need anyone? Does he send the soul into his own created world so that it forgets its true form? No, this world is not a test for the soul. Rather, it is its light. This universe is a laboratory where the soul has to experience itself. When the soul is with God, it is simply present, but when it comes into this world, it becomes aware of its existence. Like a person who can see with their eyes but needs a mirror or a reflection to see themselves. This world is that mirror, so God sends the soul into this world so that it can see itself. The soul cries, yearns, loves, hates, breaks, and then searches. Why? Because within it, God has planted the seed of longing to return. Just like a wave rises from the ocean, it is not separate from the ocean, yet it perceives itself as. The wave was born from the ocean. It exists within the ocean, and its end is also in the ocean. Similarly, the soul is infinite. It arises from the Supreme, carries the illusion of freedom for a moment, thinking it is free, and then, experiencing its existence in this world, it returns. But those moments, for the soul, become long stories, spanning many births for us. So, when you are in sorrow, when you are alone, when you feel no one understands you, at that moment, you are very close to the state where the soul calls out to God. That calling is the beginning of return, so coming into this world is not a punishment for the soul. It is an opportunity to feel again that supreme love, that supreme joy, something the soul only knew before. Now it must live it. And this is why God sends the soul into this world. Now, the question arises, when the soul enters this world, how does it forget its true form? Why does its memory fade? And why does this forgetfulness give rise to all the births in this world? When the soul comes into this world, it doesn't just take a body, it covers itself with a veil, illusion's veil. Maya isn't a woman, nor a goddess. It's that power which hides the truth. Paramhansa Yogananda Ji says that Maya is a divine dream that creates the illusion that the soul has a body, mind, thoughts, history, but none of these are real. Have you ever thought that when you are in deep sleep, your name, identity, relationships all vanish? Then, who are you? Something similar happens with the soul when it descends into this world from the womb. It knows its home deeply, but as soon as it enters the limitations of the body, layers of consciousness start covering it. Just as clouds obscure the sun, desires, fears, greed, attachments hide the soul. And this covering happens so gradually that the soul forgets itself. This forgetfulness is not a punishment. It is part of a journey where the soul wants to rediscover itself. Because if it remembered everything, there would be no experience, no search, and without searching, it cannot reach the ultimate truth. Yogananda Ji says that the soul is sent into this world because the Supreme wants to experience itself in different forms. Every soul is a reflection of the divine. Every soul is an experiment in love, compassion, attachment, hatred, and ultimately, liberation. Imagine, if the Supreme knows everything and has all power, why does it need to experience anything? Why does it send the soul into this pain-filled world? Because knowledge and experience are different. Knowledge can be gathered, but experience passes through from within. For the Supreme, knowledge is easy, it knows everything. But it wants to feel itself. That's why it sends the soul to its own created stage, where the soul becomes a character. When this character cries, even God's heart feels its pain. When it loves, God also feels himself in that love. This is a divine play, and its purpose is that when the soul returns, it returns with experience. It returns with experience, with recognition, knowing that I am that very one I was searching for, that I had gone far from, but have now found again in the same. You may ask, is this world just an illusion? No, it's not an illusion. It is an illusion. It is an illusion illuminated by truth, like the state between dreaming and waking, where there is both a dream and awareness. To consider this world as everything, and to experience it as a ladder of realization, that is true awakening. Yogananda repeatedly said, when you realize that this world is not yours, then you begin to live in it differently. That is, when you understand that the soul is not the owner of the body, this world is not its destination, then you can truly enjoy this life, because the soul has come into this world for joy, but the way to reach that joy is through experience, through wandering, and ultimately, through knowledge. That's why, when the soul enters this world, its memory is blurred. Just like an actor who steps onto a stage, forgets his real life, and immerses himself in his role. Now think, if that actor kept remembering his real life repeatedly, could he act convincingly? No, he has to forget his true self temporarily to perform. The same happens with the soul. But the difference is, in this acting, it has to take multiple births, forget repeatedly, and in each life, face the same attachments, desires, and pains. Because the soul does not complete the experience it came for. Its mind gets lost in the glamour of this world, thinking that wealth is happiness, relationships are security, respect is life, and this illusion births rebirth. But the body is just a garment that keeps changing with each birth, while the soul forgets itself, and that forgetting binds it in the web of karma. Every time, it does something that forces another birth, another lesson, another awakening. That forgetfulness causes pain, but that pain is the seed of awakening. It also destroys its confidence in itself. You think you can do nothing, that you have no knowledge, that you cannot become a yogi, that you cannot meditate. But all that fear, all that doubt, the doubt is not yours. It is a gift of forgetfulness. And to break this forgetfulness, Sadhgurus come, bringing meditation, love, and awakening the inner call, asking, am I this? When this question echoes within, it means the soul has begun to awaken. That spark that was extinguished is flickering again. Now the soul's path is turning towards liberation, and as it goes deeper within, removing the layers covering it, it starts regaining that divine state from which it came. The next question is, how can these layers be removed? How can these layers be removed? How can the soul, what is the path that takes the soul back to its true memory, to its divinity, to its ultimate goal? Is only meditation the way, or is love also a route? Does every soul have a hidden alarm? That someday rings, sometimes from sorrow, sometimes from falling in love, sometimes from fear of death, sometimes from an unspoken longing, and when that alarm sounds, the soul gets its first shock. Who am I? That's where the journey of awakening begins. It's not an easy journey, it's an inner climb where no path appears, no map exists. At such times, the soul needs a lamp, a support, a guide. That is where spiritual practice manifests. Paramhansa Yogananda says that the purest means of reaching God is meditation. What is meditation? It is that inner bridge that takes the soul from its outer existence back to its true center, When you sit in meditation, you are not the body, not thoughts, not feelings. You are the witness, calm and observing, the breath coming and going, the mind wandering, and behind all sounds, the silence, that is the soul. Yogananda Ji chose Kriya Yoga, a scientific and divine method in which breath is used as a medium to elevate consciousness to higher realms. But meditation is not the only way. For those filled with love, devotion becomes meditation. Look at Radha and Mirabai. They did no formal meditation or chantings. They simply called out to Krishna with love so profound that their love ignited the divine, burning away the layers of illusion. Sometimes karma itself becomes the way. A mother, lost in serving her children, forgets her ego. A disciple, so immersed in cleaning the temple, forgets himself. Where the ego dissolves, that is where the soul awakens. That is why Yogananda Ji adopted a balanced approach. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. According to him, when the inner mind awakens through meditation, the heart melts with love, and through service, the ego dissolves. Only then does the soul move towards its true remembrance and realization. But practice isn't easy. As soon as the soul begins to meditate, the mind starts producing noise. Thoughts that say, "This is useless, time is wasted, nothing is happening," or "I feel nothing." The mind wants to go back to that old sleep. That's why patience and persistent effort are essential. Yogananda Ji said, "Nothing happens on the first day, not even on the second. But on the 100th day, when the mind finally settles, the sun of the soul begins to rise. When that sun rises, the soul starts recognizing itself. I am not the visible, I am not the thoughts. I am the silence that remains amidst all this." Gradually, practice pulls the soul towards truth, where it knows, I live in the body, but am not the body. I use the mind, but am not the mind. I see emotions, but am not emotions. I am the soul, pure consciousness, a part of the Supreme, and that is when the soul first experiences its true home's fragrance. But the journey doesn't end here. Memories are starting to return, but now the question is, can the soul live entirely aware while remaining in this world? Can it live the ultimate truth while connected to worldly things? Can it stay married and manage daily chores like a yogi? And how did Paramhansa Yogananda Ji live it in his life? When the soul's first memory awakens, when it hears the silence within for the first time, a revolution is born. It comes to understand that now it has to go back, but the walls of the world still stand, bound by karma, tangled in relationships, burdened by responsibilities. They say the soul doesn't need to run away from the world. Instead, it needs to awaken that consciousness through which it sees the world as God. That is true yoga in household life. Yoga is not about running into the forest. Rather, it is a state where, even in the marketplace, you remain internally peaceful and in samadhi. Paramhansa Yogananda Ji never saw sannyas, renunciation, as abandonment. He said, "Renunciation is inner, not in clothes." In the Western world, where indulgence, greed, and ignorance reigned, he kept the lamp of meditation burning. By doing so, he began to see God within himself. Meditation no longer remained a ritual, it became breath. Love no longer remained a mere emotion, it became a perspective. Karma no longer remained a bondage, it became service. According to Yogananda Ji, if you are worried about what service you do, if you have fear, then mixing mami into it makes it liberation. When service is done with selfless attitude, it becomes liberation. Now, external worldly distractions start to fade. The soul ceases to be shaken by outer forces. It rises in the world, it trembles with love, but remains pure inside. This is what is said in the Gita, "Perform your duty without concern for the results." But this phrase is not simple. Giving up concern for the results means giving up the entire ego, because it's ego that says, "I did this, I deserve this." But the soul says, God has done it. I want nothing. That is why Yogananda ji made devotion and service part of sadhana along with meditation. In his ashrams, after meditation, everyone was sent to the kitchen, some to clean vessels, some to gardening, because the silence experienced in meditation should translate into service. If that silence doesn't manifest in action, it becomes ego. Yogananda ji used to say, the true yogi is one who is focused on meditation inwardly and on work outwardly. This world is not a bondage, it becomes a practice. Then, the home is no longer a limitation, it becomes an ashram. The wife is not an obstacle. She becomes a reflection of God. The children are not restrictions, they nourish the soul through service. The soul begins to see the world as a game. Similarly, the soul, body, name, work, and relationships are maintained, but internally it remains anchored. It is this stability that keeps the soul rooted in the highest irrespective of being in the world. This is what Yogananda ji called God consciousness in daily living. But this consciousness does not come suddenly. It demands penance, continuous effort, and most importantly, complete surrender. Yogananda ji said, when you are ready to lose everything, then God hands over everything to you. This complete surrender is the ultimate test of the soul, and it transforms the world into an ashram. When the soul has fully experienced the world, fulfilled relationships, deeply immersed in meditation, and touched the divine presence, it reaches the last door. So, friends, this was the extraordinary journey of the soul and its quest for truth. If this video has sparked questions in your mind or made you think differently, be sure to share it with your friends and family. Let us know in the comments what you think about this. If there is any question you'd like to hear in the next video, write that as well. Subscribe to our channel now. Let's discover the mysteries of this life together and know our true self.